What's up, guys? So without a doubt, vegan YouTube seems to be in this new era of the vegan debate. Ever since Ask Yourself's Skeptic Community Debate Challenge, there have been a slew of high-profile debates between vegan YouTubers and skeptic YouTubers. However, have you noticed a common theme amongst many of these debates between vegan YouTubers and non-vegan YouTubers? Well, while I personally find these debates entertaining and helpful in establishing my own argumentation and avoiding logical fallacies, I've noticed that they rarely ever turn the non-vegan opponent vegan. I think some of this is the direct result of a misunderstanding of what debating should be. Not just a way for vegans to murk or to, destroy the opponent. However, this will be the topic of a future video. For this one, I just want to talk about why it is likely that these people are not actually convincing the non-vegans to become vegan. And as it turns out, science does have a little bit to say about this. It can be quite frustrating when vegans construct and deploy logically sound and rational arguments against Carnists to no avail. It can be really frustrating when vegans talk about how the animal agriculture industry normalizes and legalizes abusive behavior like debeaking and the removal of teeth and genitalia without anesthetics. It can be quite frustrating when vegans argue that the animal agriculture industry globally is one of the highest contributors to climate change and GHG emissions, when vegans talk about how animals are totally sentient and that they have the same neurological systems required for consciousness that humans have, and think that this is going to convince the Carnists to go vegan. It doesn't. Part of the problem is recognizing that people are not rational. Most people, I wouldn't even argue that most vegans are rational when formulating their opinions and beliefs about the world. This study at Cornell University examined how people change their minds regarding climate change when receiving competing information about the views they already hold. Participants were asked whether or not they believe in climate change and then were given facts that contradicted their views, and with some pretty interesting results. The study found that those who were more skeptical of climate change were more likely to change their beliefs in response to good news, for example, being told that the global temperature is rising much slower than previously expected. However, they failed to change their views when receiving bad news, global temperature rising faster than expected. And conversely, those who believed strongly that climate change is occurring were likely to strengthen their views when informed of the bad news, and didn't change their views when expected of the good news. So in other words, the study found that those who strongly believe in climate change and those who strongly disbelieve in climate change showed a form of asymmetrical updating. What this means is that after each group was given information that conformed to their beliefs, they strengthened their position. However, when given information that conflicted with their beliefs, they remained obstinate in their convictions. What the study shows us is that facts, at least facts alone, do not convince people. In fact, the opposite may be true. Facts actually tend to polarize people. The same polarization takes place with regard to terrorism and immigration and gun laws and healthcare. People are more interested generally in their own position than they are in reality. Now, the researchers of this study suspect that a possible cause of this polarization is motivated reasoning, which is the need for one to feel that his position is vindicated or justified rather than contradictory. When most people are given information that conflicts with their preconceived ideas, they either regard or they rationalize this information away. Otherwise, this might cause a sense of inconsistency. Psychologists call this sense of self-contradiction cognitive dissonance, where one's beliefs and opinions and attitudes are conflicting. And as it turns out, people will go to all kinds of extremes in order to avoid cognitive dissonance, including denying reality and denying science. You might be wondering, well, Tevin, what could we possibly do to convince Carnists to become vegan? If listing some facts about animal agriculture isn't going to turn them vegan, well, what will possibly make them vegan? And fortunately, science has something to say about this as well. In this study, scientists sought to counter parents' anti-vaccination attitudes regarding measles. Now, when the parents were told that their positions regarding vaccines were erroneous and really just scientifically uninformed, it didn't actually change their position. The researchers of the study acknowledged themselves that most people who were skeptical about vaccines were really just concerned with the health and safety of their children. Many of them believed that vaccines would cause autism. The researchers also acknowledged that finding a common ground and starting from there, their fear of their children's safety, that this would actually convince them to let their children be vaccinated. Well, how can we apply this to veganism and to vegan YouTubers? Well, I would give the same information. Try to focus on moral commonalities, or just commonalities in general, with Carnists. Vegans, despite what you may think, no, most Carnists are not nihilistic moral relativists. They're not the Antichrist. They're not evil. They are not animal haters. Most of them are no different from you and me. The difference is that most carnists are just not willing to give up taste, pleasure, and convenience over what they already know about animals being sentient. In fact, a 2016 ASPCA survey found that 77% of consumers say that they are concerned about how animals are raised for food. This is why meat eaters turn to labels like cage-free and free-range and humane, because they truly are concerned with the quality of life that these animals lived and are, hopeful that they did not suffer when being slaughtered. Of course, vegans know this. Most of these labels are complete bullshit, and the USDA is pretty lax in labeling different kinds of foods, these things. Links will be in the description below. Now, I don't have any empirical data to support this, but my guess would be that most carnists continue to eat meat because it's convenient, because they think they need it to be healthy, and because it tastes good to them. And if you really cut past the bullshit, you know that these are the real issues. These are the real reasons why people eat meat. There are no rational arguments in favor of meat. Everyone knows this, even carnists do. The problem is that they rationalize all of their nonsense away with, well, it just tastes good, it's convenient. No matter how many facts that vegans come up with, they will always rationalize it away with, well, I need it to be healthy, it's convenient, and it tastes great. So perhaps one of the great challenges of convincing someone who is a carnist to go vegan is to start out with these common motives, these common concerns that carnists have with vegans. We vegans are concerned with the same things. We want to eat tasty food, we want to be healthy, and we want veganism to be very convenient. Now, some of you might be jumping up out of your chair or going down in the comment section to comment, but Tevin, vegan YouTubers address these points all the time. But once again, it's thinking about how you address these issues. If you simply tell a carnist that their position is erroneous and isn't founded in science, this isn't going to cause them to change their opinion. You want to address their concern. You want to express to them that their concern is valid. You have a right to be concerned that veganism isn't going to help you meet all of your needs. However, it will. And here is some evidence to support that. There's also one last bit of advice I'd like to give to vegans who are interested in converting non-vegans to veganism, and that is to settle for less, which would normally be terrible advice, but in this case, it is the most rational advice. Let me explain. I think that many vegans have this unrealistic expectation that non-vegans will hear their message and will instantly drop and go vegan. And this does happen. There are numerous anecdotes to support the fact that people do this, right? And that's great. However, I don't think that this is realistic, and it doesn't happen amongst most people. In fact, this might actually increase the risk of relapse. Vegan recidivism rates are already extremely high. Some estimates report that it's high as 70%. Most people in the Western world have eaten animal products for the majority of their life, and it's just become a normal. It's a normative behavior. After successfully convincing someone, we should expect that they will likely reduce animal products slowly out of their diet until vegan becomes their new normal. So telling people to immediately drop animal products and go vegan might be setting them up for failure. However, I'm not saying that vegans should discourage veganism or encourage people to not give up animal products. I'm just saying that we want to expect that people, they will go to veganism in their own time, and that it might take some time for vegan to become their new normal. We want them not to just go vegan, but to stay vegan. And if they go too fast to veganism and they can't stay healthy on a vegan diet, if they haven't done their research, they might, quit and blame veganism. Going vegan was an entirely different world for me. So I had to do lots of research on where I'd buy my shoes and my boots and where I'd go shopping and how I would be vaccinated, right? These are things that I had to think about. And even now I'm still thinking about some of these things. Again, I'm not saying that people don't do this. It just isn't as likely to happen. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a little bit of information about why people believe what they believe and why they don't change their minds when given information that, contradicts their beliefs. It can be really frustrating as a vegan and as someone who is an activist. On my free time, I am an activist, and it can be really frustrating. And so, when you learn about some of this, it helps you to be more empathetic with people who disagree with you and seek alternative methods to getting them to join whatever cause you want them to join. I'm scripting, and I'm planning a collaboration video with Leslie of Nerds and Nutrition, so hopefully you will see that come out very soon. Thank you so much, guys. Peace.